Well, winter is here. So far the coldest we've seen is -3 degrees, but last year we did get as low as -13 degrees. So I'm just going to quickly go over what we do for the animals to make sure they can make it through and are cozy for winter. So that's coming up. Hey, Roka. So how we take care of the goats for winter is not too much different from how they're taken care of year-round. The only difference is just making sure they got some nice dry bedding in their area. You guys aren't going to let me go in there. I don't have treats for you guys. I don't. I promise. Excuse you. Excuse you. Okay. So yeah, they have their inner area here so they don't have any wind. And then this is kind of a secondary area in case anybody's being a punk. Because sometimes, like Roka, she's the queen bee. She'll get in here and she'll decide none of y'all are coming in. And so Kiddo a lot of times ends up laying there. So that's where I'm glad we have this area here. And to save on the cost of bedding, we'll pick up whatever dry hay they don't eat and throw it in there. And yeah, outside of just making sure that they have bedding, we'll just make sure they have a full feeder so they have something going through their stomachs. Because as long as their stomachs are digesting, the act of them digesting it keeps them nice and warm. So you silly. It also helps if they have some alfalfa. We like to give them alfalfa pellets. Oh, you want to be scratched? Oh, you sweet girl. Yeah. But yeah, alfalfa has a little bit extra proteins and will help keep them a little bit warmer too, so. Huh. Someone's all spunky. Gonna go for their walk here in a minute. So my concern that I'm having is I'm already thinking ahead to kidding season, because we were so sure that we were going to be taking the bus and wanted to make sure that we had enough time to sell our buck that we bred all these guys about a month early from when we would normally breed. And the normal time that we breed, even then, it's pretty darn cold come kidding time. So I'm preparing myself for some really cold temperatures for when it comes time for birthing these little babies that are coming. They're probably about a month and a half along now at this point. What are you doing? So we plan on buying another heater. It's not one that would be safe just to leave with the goats. So either, I plan on using it when I notice the goats going into labor. I know that if it's cold and they're going into labor, they can have a difficult time regulating their body temperature while they're trying to kick out a kid. So just going to keep a real close eye once those due dates come around, and once I notice somebody in labor. If it's cold and it's not nice like it is today, it feels pretty good today. But like when Roka gave birth last year, it was in the evening time. We were coming in tonight and it was like going to be 30 degrees. And so I was there to make sure she had no difficulties and help dry her kids off for her, and they did just fine. And then the following day it got to 18 degrees at night, and you know, by that time they had their nice warm shelter to go into. Mama put her neck over all of her little babies and they did just fine, but it's the labor that I'm concerned about. So we have just a propane heater that I'll set up inside their shelter if need be, and I'll just have to be present, even if that means maybe spending the night or a few hours or something with them before turning the heater off, because we definitely would not want to start their shelter on fire doing that. So, because once the babies are all dry, you know, they're not going to love the cold. They'll appreciate any warmth that we're able to give them. I'm going to track down some little dog sweaters too. But they can handle the cold once they're completely dry. And then Mom helps keep them warm. But yeah, I'll track down some little dog sweaters to put on them and stuff too. You are all sorts of amped up. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but ever since we've dried this girl up, she's been extra dancy and prancy. When she was in milk and had an udder, she was a little bit more nervy and, you know, had a more subdued temperament. But ever since we dried her up for winter, she's been this perky, like, giving you attitude goat. So I found that interesting. I think, you know, obviously it's easier not having a bag you're carrying underneath you, but I think she doesn't have to worry about accidentally getting poked by this gal in her backside by accident or on purpose. So, yeah, she's been all perky since we dried her up. She's silly. You gonna do much, girl? I know you hate stepping in the snow. You're already looking big. These guys look a little more plump, but still fairly normal. She's definitely more plump than she was a month ago. I don't think she'd be showing babies yet. I think she just is hogging the food at the feeder, but we'll see. She had quads last year, so I'm excited to see what she's going to put this year. Alright, guys. So the rabbits, they're the most simple of all of the animals, I'd say, as far as winter goes. I do have to come out and make sure they have water twice a day, because a lot of times in the morning it'll freeze and they're thirsty for more come the evening time. And they just kind of, I don't have to really do much for them, because even if we're in a snowstorm, a lot of times, unless it's bad, they'll be sitting outside while it's snowing. My buck likes to just sit on top of his shelter or sit inside his little litter box there. Don't ask me why. Don't know why he likes to sit amongst his own matter. When we do start hitting those single digits or colder, I start to think maybe they'd want something more comfortable in the ground. So every one of the rabbits love these black tubes. So if they're not out, they're usually in these black tubes. So I will get handful of hay and put it in the tubes. They don't necessarily need it, but I figure the option's there if they are cold, that they have something better to stand on. And sometimes I will put it in their shelters, but a lot of times they don't use their shelters unless we're having a wicked bad storm. So, and that's also where their food bowls go, so they'll go in there to eat. But yeah, and something I did different this year that I don't normally do, you know, this is my my broken castor doe, and that was my castor buck. I normally wouldn't have them together right now, but, you know, I'm just confident that they're not going to breed right now with it being cold, because we tried to breed these guys, you know, for a full year through winter last year, and kind of discovered they tend to stop wanting to breed about September. They'll start not allowing the buck to mount them, and then they don't start getting back into the mood of wanting to breed until like the middle of February. So my buck was looking pretty sad and depressed, so I decided to bring my lone doe over here, because all the other cages I've got pairs of does from the retaining some girls from the last breeding. So all of them are his daughters, so this is the only one he's not related to. So if he did breed her by chance, you know, they get a hay feeder full of hay, so she's got what she needs to make a nest. She's more than likely, I'm 99% sure, she's not going to breed until that February mark when it starts feeling like spring's coming. So my aim is to get her out of here by the end of January before that happens. Until I'm ready to breed her for sure. So, but yeah, my buck, he loves having the company and companionship. Like rabbits, the females, if you do doe to doe, they can be territorial. These younger guys back here, they're not adults yet, so they haven't gotten territorial yet. By the time springtime comes around, everybody's going to have their own territory and their own cage to breed and have their litters in. So, but yeah, these two, they'll snuggle and they have that companionship through the long cold winter. So makes them happy, makes me happy. So for the chickens for winter, not a whole lot changes. Just got to make sure where they sleep up there. I put dry bedding and clean up the poop, because moisture is what will get your birds and get frostbite and stuff. Don't know, they like to, chickens like to sleep as high as they can, which is why they sleep there versus they're supposed to use the roosting poles I have here. The other thing I do is when it's sunny and warm, I'll have that window open at all times, and these windows will be open at all times. With winter, I close the two and leave this one open. Unless we start getting down to like the 10-degree mark or colder, because you don't want to close a coop up generally on your chickens, because their breathing creates moisture. But this is a very large coop for 5 birds, so I'm not too worried about it. And the chickens don't like winter as much, because then they can't go and forage, and so it helps to come bring them toys like lettuce and stuff, like dangling a head of lettuce for them to chomp on. And with all the animals, we have to bring them water twice a day. I switched to a dog bowl and just bringing them water twice a day, because this water is pretty much useless once we get to those freezing temperatures. So, okay, let's take you guys out to play. There you guys go. There's some ground showing. If you guys don't remember from any of my other videos, I actually have to carry the chickens over to our fenced area here so that they can't get nabbed by any foxes. Their coop isn't. It's kind of in the middle of the unfenced area, so, but this is the fenced area, so no foxes are going to get them over here. So let's carry them all over. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Just pretty simple stuff, so we'll see you guys next time.